Oh man, I can't believe we're talking about this, but you know what? Because it was brought up in Spectres Hockey, and because it's been a somewhat popular talking point, why not explore it here in the channel? Because hey, I know people hate this kind of stuff, I hate this kind of stuff, which is why we're gonna divulge into it, because at the end of the day, everybody has something to say, especially about big hypothetical moves like this one. The Vegas Golden Knights got eliminated by the Montreal Canadiens, and a big problem in that series was that they weren't able to get any offense from their forwards. Montreal's overall defensive structure was just so good, it collapsed everything to the ground. Mark Stone, one of the best defensive forwards in the entire NHL, was getting matched and beaten on the score sheet, on the advanced analytics. His Corsi was dead last on the team. And now, the Vegas Golden Knights are out. So we have ourselves Spectres Hockey, who comes out here with the yesterday edition of the Rumor Mill, talking about the Vegas Golden Knights and what could be next. He cites a few different pieces, ESPN.com, Greg Wyshynski's overall article written about the Golden Knights, and he also talks about what is said in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I will leave a link in the description to not only the Spectres Hockey article, but the two other pieces as well, so you can go ahead and read that. But essentially, what the Vegas Golden Knights need, according to Wyshynski and according to Ed Graney of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, is a star center. Because you take a look at the similarities, everybody's talking about, oh, the star centers on the teams that the Canadiens play against are all out. Yeah, okay, cool. John Tavares against Toronto, yeah, he is out. Mark Scheifele against the Jets, yeah, he is out. Guess who is out for the Vegas Golden Knights? Ooh, Chandler Stevenson. Okay, yeah, he's technically their first-line center. I mean, technically, he's on their power play as well. I mean, he's an effective player, so sure, but it's like, okay, Tavares, Scheifele, and Chandler Stevenson. One of those names is not in the same tier as the others. So when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, the idea that is proposed here is that they do need a star center. Wyshynski believes this so, and with players like Jack Eichel, Evgeny Malkin, Alex Barkov, and Kuznetsov potentially available and the Golden Knights considered high-stakes gamblers, it wouldn't be surprising if they made a major move this summer. They're also exempt from the expansion draft, however, that doesn't mean they can't swing a cost-cutting deal with the Kraken. Here's what Ed Graney of the Las Vegas Review-Journal says. He pointed out the need for high-end talent up front. The lack of depth at center, including Cody Glass's inability to develop as hoped, also needs to be addressed. He recommended putting together a package offer for Buffalo Sabres center Jack Eichel, or contacting the Columbus Blue Jackets about winger Patrick Laine. Okay, we're not going to talk about that yet, I think. But for Jack Eichel, this is the big one, because immediately after the Vegas Golden Knights were eliminated by the Habs, everybody was like, okay, where do they go from here? This is a team that has made the conference finals, the Final Four, 3 out of their 4 times in existence. This team is definitely not bad. But what exactly do they need to fix everything up and push them over the hump to make the finals again and eventually win a Stanley Cup? Because, of course, that is what everybody wants to happen, right? I'm being sarcastic, by the way. And because the most glaring hole for the Golden Knights is that center position, it makes all the more sense that, I mean, Jack Eichel, the top center guy on the market right now, is being considered in trade rumors. You take a look at where Eichel is, he's making a boatload of money this season, $10 million AAV on his contract. The Golden Knights currently have about $6 million of salary cap space this upcoming offseason. Next season, that increases to $26 million. You take a look at who exactly needs to be returned. Hey, Matthias Janmark's a UFA, Tomas Nosek's a UFA, Martinez is the big one, and then Marc-Andre Fleury next season is going to be a UFA as well. So that's not a big, tall task, you know? You have a lot of extra dollars out there. If Martinez demands $6 million, hey, you have $6 million. But, of course, you still need to think about all the other players that are on this team depth-wise as well. Not to mention the idea of Seattle potentially being a cap relief station for many of these NHL teams. But the Vegas Golden Knights are a good team that have, honestly, a lot of cap space compared to all the other good teams. The Tampa Bay Lightning had negative cap space. So do the Islanders, if you count Anders Lee. So the Vegas Golden Knights are honestly in a little bit of a fortunate position in terms of their overall on-ice product, which is, quite frankly, pretty good until they play Montreal, as well as the potential to add. Because, as it's mentioned in a few of these articles and a few of the social media posts that I've seen, if the Vegas Golden Knights wanted to do it, they honestly might have enough assets to fulfill what is the apparent asking price for Jack Eichel. Let's go back a few videos ago and talk about what that might be. Okay, a top 6 forward. Well, the Golden Knights have a lot of forwards that I guess you could say are potential top 6 guys. Maybe for the sake of argument, let's just say Alex Tuch, because he's signed here for a very long time until 2026, and at his best, he can be a very good lethal sniper with some speed. A top 4 defenseman as well. Hey, you've got a few of those. I've been really impressed with the entire squad of Pietrangelo, Theodore, McNabb, Haig, Whitecloud, and Martinez. I thought they all played very well against Montreal, especially considering the fact that they scored all the goals in that series. Any one of these guys, send them in the package with Alex Tuch to Buffalo for Eichel, and then include a boatload of prospects. Hey, you've got some guys here. Obviously, Cody Glass is the big one. I'm also a big fan of Peyton Krebs. Pavel Dorofeyev is in there as well. Kaden Korczak is one of my personal favorite defensemen that came out of the WHL. And then you have Logan Thompson, the Rookie of the Year in the AHL for goaltenders. Absolute stud he was over there for the Henderson Silver Knights. And so if you wanted to include a combination of any of these guys, you honestly could have a pitch that competes with the likes of the Anaheim packages and maybe even the Columbus packages or whoever else is available in the Eichel trade talks. There aren't too many teams available anymore. But it's so dumb because the Golden Knights honestly look like if they wanted to do it, they could. They could trade the signing rights to Alec Martinez. They could trade away an Alex Tuch or whoever else it is you feel is expendable on that team up front. Any of the prospects they have. I think they have a pretty underrated prospect group too, and they still have their first this year, and next year, and the year after that. It's crazy because if they wanted to make that gamble, they could. And all of a sudden, now that I think about it, the idea of having Stone, Pacioretty, and Eichel as a first line is absolute insanity, and I don't want to think about that team going up against my Jay Beagles and Antoine Roussells and the Vancouver Canucks when the Pacific Division eventually returns. I would not like this at all. I would hate this because of how gosh darn good the Vegas Golden Knights would get with a Jack Eichel on their team. So, for all the writers out there pointing it out that, yeah, they should go out there, they should do it, man, I hate that it's correct and that it's actually achievable because, man, this team already made the conference finals so many gosh darn times. How many more times are they going to be able to go out there and do their thing? Everybody likes to meme on Vegas and say, oh, they haven't suffered enough yet as a franchise. Once your former player comes back to bite you in the behind in a playoff series, that's how you know you've graduated to being a new NHL team. Yeah, Nick Suzuki did that. Okay, cool. They're still a very good hockey team, and I don't think there's anybody that's going to deny that. It's not like they were gifted a team either. They just went out there and took a whole bunch of extra deals that helped them out in the long run because other GMs were kind of dumb in assessing their own talent. Cough, cough. Riley Smith, Shea Theodore, Jonathan Marchessault. Yeah, don't at me. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about this entire idea over here. Jack Eichel. If he gets traded to Vegas, man, you know how hyped up Jack Eichel would be if that happened. We know everything about this guy already that has been portrayed in the media. He's a baller, he's competitive, he wants to win every year. Hey, if you have a guy who wants to win the Stanley Cup every year, send him to the team that's already making the conference finals 75% of the time. He can have a heck of a lot of fun there in Vegas on a team that already has a boatload of cap space and a boatload of assets to expend if they wanted to do it. And thinking about it just kind of gets my blood boiling, but you know what? At the very end of the day, I think they should be considered at the very least as potential underdog candidates. Like, you know, Pierre LeBrun had that list of teams that could do it and could make the trade for Eichel if they wanted to because they would have the necessary amount of pieces to make a trade that Kevin Adams would say yes to. I realistically think the Golden Knights should be involved in that conversation. Now, whether or not they will or they won't, who knows? Obviously, it's a really big deal, but the Vegas Golden Knights are not these bottom feeder teams that are looking for that piece to give them a big push. They're already a team that is in the hunt for a Stanley Cup, and they've been so close before. They're really close still. And maybe the Jack Eichel piece is the piece that gets them over the hump in the Stanley Cup land rather than, I don't know, some borderline team coughing up a whole bunch of assets and using Eichel as a piece to get into the playoffs at the very least. So talk to me in the comments what you think about Eichel and Vegas. I hate it, but you know what? We'll talk about it anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video. Josh Rolls 99. And bye.